Well, welcome to Constantly Connecting Humanity 360 LLC. And maybe a little note about what CCH 360 actually is. It's a partnership of people using martial arts techniques and martial arts experiences to explore healing modalities using personal tools and processes useful for self-care and healthy personal development. Who is the CC3H group, 360 group? Well, first would be Sufi Lester Holmes. He's a founder of CCH 360, also Tai Chi Connections and Tai Chi Wellness Society. He teaches out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And second is Pam Dye, founder of Tai Chi Forever, and she teaches out of, well, Freeport, New York. And myself, Dan Tracy, founder of Martial Arts in Motion LLC and Gator Tai Chi, teaching in season at Titusville, Florida. You can find us on Facebook at CCH 360, Consciously Connecting Humanity 360, and YouTube, CCH 360, where there's over 40 videos now. I didn't realize we had that many videos, Pam, so it's going along pretty well.
Well done, you guys. Well done.
Our guest today is Master Instructor Brandon Tracy. Master Tracy started his martial arts training, I think it was about 6 years old, weren't you?
I was 6, yes.
6, and has been training for over 39 years. He received his black belt from Master Randy Reed's American Freestyle Taekwondo system. He's founder of Infusion Mixed Martial Arts and also Superhero Martial Arts. He also studied Kempo Goju, Karate, Judo, Muay Thai, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brandon is a 5th degree black belt in American Freestyle Taekwondo and a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Teles Basils, hope I said that right.
Bazo,
from the Rickson Gracie lineage. Master Tracy has developed a system using various martial arts techniques to mentor and connect with children of special needs. So, as if a student was actually, now I understand that most of the time it's one-on-one, is that correct?
It is until now. I'm going to start introducing. I've had a couple years with 2 to 3 years with each one of the students. Some of them are, many of them are now very ready for a group class, a small group class. So that is something I will start to introduce, but I'm not going to make it a regular class. I'm going to make it a camp so that we can work on those skills, see what happens, but we're not staying in that possibly a stressful situation. We can try it out, make some progress, go back to our individual training classes and work on what the social or the emotional parts that were challenging as they're going through the classes as individuals, and then try it again the next time and just help recognize the growth. So the model will stay as private training sessions because I can offer exactly what the student in front of me needs that day.
How long of training session, or is a typical training session?
A typical training session for a new student, I tell the parents, is going to be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. Usually, and for some students, they're not ready for a half-hour class, even though we schedule a full half-hour class. So we always schedule at least a half-hour long class. And for some of the students, a few of them that are younger in the process of learning how to take class and what it means and this concept of a teacher is and how do we focus on them, what does that mean? For them, that's where they're going to have like a 15-minute class, because we don't want to, our goal is to not frustrate them, is to reinforce them trying something new and keeping it a positive thing. But I would have to say that 90% of my students are at half-hour long classes. And then I have another 5% or so that are at hour-long classes because they are at the point that they can stay mentally engaged for the entire hour. That is the challenge for them, along with going through the physical techniques and the mental training that we just kind of do throughout every class. So an hour on the long side and a half hour is the average class.
Okay. What do you do for brick and mortar areas to work in?
with superhero martial arts, I've changed my business model approach. And what I decided to do was to rent space. So I found a professional martial arts academy of friends that I know, rented space because I figured they had one day of the week that they were not having classes. So I took that evening and I rented space for that time in one community. Then in another community, I actually partnered with a place called Camp Creatability. And Camp Creatability, they help teach uh, adults with autism how to create and direct and make movies. And so that was somebody that I met through business networking. And she offered a space to me. So I worked out of their 20-foot by 20-foot room with cameras around and green screens. And I had to teach students what was appropriate to touch, what was not appropriate to touch in that space. And then the space I currently teach out of now, I had the first time I opened up superhero martial arts. And that was an actual fitness gym.
Okay, my next question is also on the business model. Without talking dollars and cents, do you find this as a productive vocation?
Yes. Yes. I am realizing that there are a number of people that, a number of martial art instructors that are willing to try working with individuals with special needs. And they quickly find out that that there's a lot to learn. And it's something that takes time to do that. For myself, I've put that time in, and I happen to do very well with individuals with my superhero martial art clients. Some of them have autism, some have Down syndrome, some of them have spina bifida, some of them are sight impaired. We have a couple of students that are nonverbal, and everyone works well this way. Everyone seems to work well with this. The business model, as far I think it's something that if you're willing to explore and to ask questions and to ask families to help provide an opportunity for you to learn how to work with individuals with special needs, it's something that many people who are focused on educating individuals on the life skills that martial arts often provides an opportunity to teach. Those types of instructors can definitely learn to work with individuals with special needs. And there's a large number of people that need or would love to have access to a resource like a martial art instructor who focuses on life skills and can make learning whatever style of martial arts fun. And there are assistant programs there are waiver programs for adults. There are some waiver programs, at least here in Wisconsin. There are waiver programs for adults and there are waiver programs for children, and they can get financial assistance for therapy and healthy activities that would help provide opportunities for them to learn these things. So with a lot of the students that I was working with as Infusion, I recognized that there was a system out there. And when I started superhero martial arts, I had both private pay as well as the waiver students. And I recognized that most of the students that are using the waiver, families that have the waiver assistance, there are only a few families. Well, those families, they can really use the financial assistance. There are some families that can afford all the therapy that goes along with having individuals with special needs. And so working with the county and the case managers and helping them understand what we do, that provided an opportunity for them to know how to code the type of training their clients are getting. So that made it viable for me to then get a consistent revenue source. And I didn't have to go out and market to all the private pay families, even though they are already learning about me and they know about me. But a lot of them are learning because with being part of the waiver program, the agencies that help, what's the term called for a person that goes in, they're the in-between for two people, but they kind of negotiate things. As far as like finances, still things like that.
Agent, maybe?
Yeah, an agent. That's the idea. So with it helps the agents qualify training with superhero martial arts as something that they can actually get financial assistance for. And up to this point, some schools could do it, and most schools were not seen as that type of education. They're just seen as a fun activity, healthy activity for them to do.
Mhm.
So the reason I say that is because, or bring this up, is because that focus on the life skills and the social skills that happen in between the time when these people are making decisions throughout the class, that's what is really valuable, seems to be very valuable. And you can get financial assistance. So you can start to produce a reliable stream of income if you are willing to put the time in. And I have found it to be extremely rewarding and very worth it. And I really had to decide if I was going to put the time in to be part of that, or that structure with the waivers. It's turned out to be a wonderful thing. And I
Yeah,
can
I'm sure there's extra bookkeeping involved, but
there is, but you also have the trade-off is worth it because the county and the state make those referrals. And so I have waiting lists because, one, I've done a good job, or Superhero Martial Arts has done a good job with presenting its product and with the education that we do, and they've heard about it. But I've also put in, part of the program, so that so the county helps provide all the leads. I have waiting lists and waiting lists, so which is great as a business model. I'd much rather have waiting lists than need to go out and find students and market, which is what I had to do for many, 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 many years. And that was fine. I just happened to find a way I did not have to do that so much. And I will volunteer in at some of the respite centers for some of the adults that have special needs. We will volunteer. So I've mentioned that some of our superheroes do leadership, and for those that's a good next skill to learn. I put them into a leadership position, and then they also get a chance to come out into the community, and we work together to go to different functions, whether it's conferences or working with Wisconsin Public Television. They've asked us a number of years to help out with some of their events that are focused on individuals with special needs. So we go out and help and volunteer with those types of events, as well as, like I said, some different respite centers for children with special needs, as well as the adults with special needs. So we definitely volunteer in the community, and sometimes with the walks, we go and we'll volunteer there and just make sure we go and have a good time. And really, it's an opportunity for our students who are in the leadership roles to practice their skills further.
That's great. If there was just one thing that you could pass on to the students, what would that be and why?
I think that's a really good question that I thought of. I appreciate that question when I read it earlier. And the reason why I appreciate that is because as I mentioned a little earlier in this interview, that the things I found consistent, no matter what school I was at, if it was a good martial art instructor or a mentor, and what the actual lessons were focused on the life skills. They're focused on, learning about the concept of focus. What is this? What is it? I've heard concentrating. I've heard of, kind of think of focusing, but how do you do that? And I need opportunities to practice, right? Being confident. Try that kick. Try to do the form. Try to go through it again. I understand it's frustrating. Try it again, right? So developing your focus and ideas, concepts of focus and self-discipline, confidence, respect for yourself, learning how to draw boundaries for yourself, and then how to respect your own boundaries, and then how to work on defending those boundaries in a respectful, artful way, socially. And those were always the types of things I later realized I was learning, regardless of the style of martial arts and that mental education allowed me to do many other things and be very successful in life that were outside of martial arts. But as I went from one school to the next, I became a very good student because I understood what I was really practicing. And I just chose a good instructor or a good mentor and a style of martial arts that I was interested in learning. still working on the same things. So what I would pass on to individuals who are learning or who are just getting into martial arts, or who have been there for a little while, you know, without getting bored of thinking of it this way, um, definitely recognize the mental martial arts, the mental skills that are being developed as a martial artist, and how valuable those can be, not just in your martial arts academy when you're working and interacting with other individuals and you're trying new things that might be scary, but also when you're outside of that martial arts academy, whether you're at work, at school, or at home. You know, those are the mental skills that we use to get through all the conversations we have. Doesn't matter if we have special needs or if we're neurotypical. So I would say that would be one thing to pay attention to and respect and appreciate that opportunity to have that type of education, because a lot of people don't have those types of mentors, and martial arts often presents those people.